Hey, that's all I got. That's all I got. Huh? Let me try it without it. Let me try it without. There we go. All right, there we go. See. Uh-huh.
No, you don't need that shit.
Yeah, listen, I'm from the 80s. Look. Technology is not my strong.
No, you went straight Geek Squad.
No, I thought that might be too much.
No.
No. I came in.
And it's outdoors. You're like a helicopter, you're like a pilot.
No, it's a sports announcer, you know.
You're landing a 747.
That's good. I'm at Command Center.
Yeah.
Bring them in. XL 75 428 requesting. No, that's some serious stuff right there, though. When you wanted some equipment, I used to do some telemarketing when I was unemployed, and so that's what I.
Those are like phone sex headphones.
that'll be 1-900-843. Hello. Hello there. No, those are freaky. Those are kind of scary.
No, those are after 12.
To be quite honest, yeah.
Those are weekends only.
Yeah, I use these. That's 11 to 1.
It's a whole nother vibe.
No, I got some. Listen,
that's good.
Yeah, if you
no,
need
that's
them,
good. No, that's necessary.
That's all.
Yeah, that's necessary.
Wow, it's hot, man. It's a lot.
Yeah, so I wonder when we're able to practice non-social distancing, or will there ever be a time? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, but just like where should we set up? Should it be outdoors? I do like the outdoors. That's pretty tight. I'm thinking if I have the backdrop of like the mountains or something like that.
Well, yeah, like if it wasn't so sunny, I'd have the mountains out here, off the deck and the trees and stuff. But it's just too much.
Right.
I could get a big tree in the background. I guess I could go to that side.
Oh.
I mean, look. Let me show you the tree. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, it just looks like a plain ass tree. I mean, you're invested. You're invested in that tree. It just,
Listen, it's like the perfect tree.
It didn't move me.
No, okay. I didn't know if you were going to go. I was waiting for you to go, oh, yeah, that's the one.
Nah,
I didn't hear it.
I can play stumped.
Yeah, it's blooming. Blooming.
No, it just seemed pretty plain.
Yeah, okay. Kind of like the brick. That's okay.
Well, no, the brick is cool, The brick is cool. Maybe less window, but
no, that's what I was thinking. Less window. Then I got like the door.
Yeah, because like whose window? Well, you would have to actually center yourself. Okay, so Sophia's late. Where's she at? Okay, she's 5 minutes late.
Yeah, I'm never late.
No, I was 5 minutes early. So for some reason, I wanted to do this on my desktop. Is that still a thing?
A desktop?
Is that still a thing? Like,
no,
it
is. If you have
say that, do people say that?
No, if you have these.
I don't know.
These came with a desktop.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
I think one's did. I remember I had a compact computer. This was like maybe 10, 11 years ago. I don't know. I feel like I'm tech savvy, but I never jump out the window.
No, that was right after my Texas Instruments.
Yeah, no.
No,
your gateway. Forget. Right after your gateway, right? Yeah.
right. I had the gateway. What? That's creepy at the window.
Well, because I feel kind of like I'm violating. Like I'm just like I'm right in it.
I'm coming over here.
That's wow. So you could have made that choice a lot sooner.
Oh, that's too much. That's too much. Look, hold up.
No, you could have made that choice a lot.
No,
sooner.
The window was messing me up a little bit.
That's a lot better.
That
makes sense.
Better. Huh?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wow. No, I don't know why I was a show with the window. I just pictured like somebody looking in the window at me.
Yeah, I felt like I was intruding in a sense.
Well,
it was weird.
No, it's creepy. I mean, it really is.
I told my wife, I said, hey, I'm going to go in the living room and do my podcast. It felt cool. I just felt cool saying that.
Why don't you say it again? Say it one more time.
No, I said it like nonchalantly. And,
I leaned in. Stacy's doing a live video workout, live workout with Burn Boot Camp. And I said, oh, hey, psst, I'm going to be doing the podcast out on the deck.
Hey, are we doing free promo? No, because I'm with it. I just want to know if that's the thing.
No, I think let's see how good it is, and then we make it.
Well, no. See, when you lead with that, let's see how good it is. No, it's supposed to be good, man.
Why? No, that's true, but it's our first one.
Nah, the first is always the best.
That's not true.
That just sounds good too.
That did, but it's not true. I'm going to take that right now.
No, it's actually very inaccurate. No,
because that just discounts experience, right?
Well, I mean, we got at least 10 minutes of outtakes right now. Just to show you.
Oh, you mean you're already recording?
I am.
Oh my God! So you got these on?
I definitely got those.
Oh wow, man! If you would have told me that, I would have cleaned it up.
No, bro. This is the essence I want to catch you in, which also sounds weird, but
no, that was really creepy. The essence.
It was like Ted Bundy.
You know what it sounds like? No, I can't say it. I can't say it.
Off the wall. No, don't say it.
No, you know what I'm thinking now. Work related.
I think what's crazy during Ramadan, like you can't even have water.
What?
You're not supposed to.
That is not true.
It is.
That's if you're some extremist group or something. There's no way.
No, you're supposed to experience
water for like 12 hours. That's a health risk. Are you kidding me?
So I have this habit of like clearing my nostrils.
Yeah, you go.
I do, like I'm a cokehead, but I'm not.
I've been in meetings with you. We're in an interview, and you go. All of a sudden, you go. I'm like, whoa.
Nah,
try not to overreact.
You lighten the mood a little bit.
Question.
Make it natural.
Is it okay if I have something to drink while I'm out here, or is it going to bother you because you're?
Well, I think
because you saying that
would be beneficial would be not to tell the time.
Okay. Just don't tell the time.
Yeah, you do what you want to do, but I think the moment you say, "Hey, it's 10:30," and then you have like a Jaeger, it just sounds crazy.
No, you can't say the time at all. This could be an afternoon podcast or an evening. Well, not
right. Where's Sophia? Can you yell for her?
Yeah, I'll be right back. Let me go get her.
Yell for her.
I'm gonna get just some water or something to drink. Lemonade.
Yeah, go get your water.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Here, just look at these meditate on these.
No, that looks weird.
Huh?
That looks weird. I feel like you should put Vaseline in a box of tissues next to that.
Hey, that's enough.
Sorry, that's a lot.
Wow.
That's a lot.
I don't like
that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. My bad.
Be right there. And check mic. Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
You're like Dr. Spock.
Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk. You did not.
It's like telecommunications for like a local Christian radio show. You just take the calls. No, I'm the guy. Yeah, where they're pledging, they're making pledges, and they show the guys in the back with these. You're the donation guy.
Yeah, and they go, "Hey, thanks for calling. We appreciate your generous gift, and may God bless you. Can I pray with you?"
No, I feel like those headphones are like, they were stand by the Branch Davidian marketing team.
Oh man! Oh,
man. How can we touch lives?
Yeah, no, physically, literally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Come
Yeah, it's
here
interesting.
to Mount
They're an
Carmel.
interesting group. So is she calling in or is she joining you? And
You know, that's a fair question.
yeah, because her calling in would actually probably be more beneficial.
That's what I was thinking.
You know, and
Why don't you text her and just tell her to call in from her room?
I mean, shit, you're like at least 5 feet away from her.
No, she's downstairs. She moved in yesterday.
Nice.
Is it though?
Absolutely. Because this is like a launching pad. This is like right before you're off.
Yeah, 30 days of a launching pad.
30-day launching pad.
I was thinking more like 10 would be appropriate.
I think 30 days is cool. I think however long it takes is necessary.
They moved in. She moved into the basement. To a lot of stuff in a lot of places that I'm just not used to stuff being in those places.
Oh, because now this is actually coinciding with your workspace. Now we're talking. Okay. Now I see what's going on here.
Yeah. Got some issues there. But
yeah, look, I had a really bad situation. My computer crashed. And I had to restart and wipe everything.
Hey, here's Sophia. Do you want to talk to her?
Where is she? Hey.
Sorry, this morning has been a rough one.
No, this morning is. Are you good? You guys good?
Should she be in a different environment so her voice doesn't pick up like she's right beside me?
It's gonna echo unless.
Okay.
She should maybe do it from her room or like with a good backdrop. My room.
Can I get breakfast?
What do you mean? Can you get breakfast? Like it's 10:45 right now. We were on at 10:30, but yeah, go ahead and grab something to take down. Maybe. Is that what you're thinking? Okay. All right.
In the bathroom.
No, it didn't matter. That didn't matter. 30 days. 30 days. I'm a little more. Yeah, I don't know how to say it, but anyway. It's gonna be,
hey, that's a lot, man. You're being bracing. Oh, look, those headphones, you need to put a black light over those headphones.
Stop. You, between the tissues, the Vaseline, which I don't even know anything about Vaseline, but wow.
Those headphones are gross.
Wow. Those are highly used telemarketing headphones. I got them at a garage sale. A young single-sex couple was getting rid of some things, and I picked it up.
Oh, that headphone.
All they said was it was from telemarketing. That's all they said.
Yeah.
But now you're putting
the
ideas
question is,
in my head.
The real question is, why did you get them?
No. Remember, I was unemployed. And so I was starting up a business where I convince other businesses to allow me to mobile optimize their website so it looked right on the phone. Because a lot of times it was off, and then I could streamline it and make it look good on the phone. It was a tech business, really, that I was in.
No, it sounds cool. I would love to be a fly on the wall.
Oh, you should have. I sold them like crazy. Ask me how much money I made in 3 months.
I would say $2,100.
Zero, but the guy I was working for gave me $300. He wired me $300. It ended up being a fraud, a scam. And then I had people mad at me and angry because they thought I'd scammed them. But the guy, I tried to get in touch with him. He wouldn't answer for like 15 days. And I had to just keep calling and selling this thing and getting people under me. And it ended up being a scam. And he did wire me Western Union $300 because I told him I can't even eat. I don't have any money. And so,
that's sick.
Yeah, but that's how it went down.
Yeah, that's not okay.
No, it's another chapter. It's another chapter. Wow.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Yeah. All right.
what is that? Like a lemonade?
Yeah, it's
type
just,
of-
no, it's just lemonade.
Yeah. So I did my taxes yesterday.
You're getting a lot back, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
I owe $2,700.
Yeah, I owe 3,000. So.
Yeah, so we're in the same boat. I'm
Okay.
trying to think what went wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. We're having a kid in 2 weeks, and
yeah, you're supposed to. Now we can make payments though. That's the thing, quarterly. But the first 2 quarters are due July 15th.
yeah. Well, I don't even know if I have a stimulus check coming.
Yeah, you will. You'll have a stimulus check coming.
All right,
But,
so it's here.
but it's going to be much delayed because if you owe taxes, then you can't just process it electronically. Therefore, you go to the end of the line of stimulus distribution. And so you'll have to probably end up paying before you get the stimulus money back.
Luke, do you want to just dive in?
Well, I tell you I think one of the topics that's on everybody's mind right now is just last week, the state of Georgia, the conservative governor said, we're opening up our restaurants. We're opening up for business.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a true issue with our economy. And so we're going to send people back out. They've got to work. They've got to make money. And I believe that that the conscience of the governor is that he wants people to be able to make money. He's seen people who are really becoming impoverished and struggling, and he wants to open up for business to help people. But is that a good move? That's the question. Is that a good move?
Well, is there? I feel like there's a double-edged sword here, because on one end, right, you have folks who have to maintain. We're still paying mortgage, we're still paying rent and lights and gas, and buying groceries and having to provide for our families. On the other end, we're trying to stay healthy.
Not just stay healthy, stay alive, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think little by little, you got to give folks the platform to open up and start some type of business, something, man. You can't cut them off at the legs.
But do you go against science? I mean, have we not learned anything from history? And who does this impact the most?
Well, for sure. It's not like open up everything, right?
Yeah.
But
what are they opening up, right?
Well, that's probably the most important thing, right?
Right.
Barbershops are a necessity, but
nail care.
Okay, get your clippers, get your trimmers.
Oh, you fancy, huh? Hair did.
No, I'm just. It's a lot.
But no, I think one of the issues. So I'm thinking about Atlanta. So the mayor of Atlanta said, we should.
Well, let's start with the fact that Atlanta is over.
It's 80% black. It's 80% black.
Let's address the elephant.
Okay.
let's just get that out there.
I mean, look, as a person of color, I mean, this is disproportionately impacting African Americans more than any other race. So do we bring race into this, or do we just cover it up and go,
everything.
It's good for the economy. It's good for the economy. You
have to sustain the lifestyle.
Yeah.
You have to.
So the frontline workers, the people that are most accessible to getting hit with this, I would say, are African Americans, bus drivers, CNAs in retirement communities, med techs, restaurant servers, cooks, janitors, cashiers, stockers. Right. I mean, and now you're going to bring people out from all segments of the population to put these folks even at more risk, who were already at risk doing the essential services of America's kind of economy.
Right.
And so I think the mayor of Atlanta has rightful concern when he says, look, I mean, I know we've got to do something with our economy, but at the same time, this is hurting our Black communities. There was a quote, Leon, that said, when America catches a cold, the African Americans get the flu.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And right now, America has a cold and African Americans have the flu. And it's true. I mean,
I like the analogy, man, but again, I'm thinking about the 4-family homes, the kids who are out of school,
Fair.
Just the everyday living.
Yeah. And
all that aside, man, people have to stay alive.
Right.
So how do you generate revenue?
Yeah.
Simple. Look, the price of gas is down. Everything's cheap now, right? This is the time where you can really tap into some entrepreneurship. But
true.
That hasn't slowed down. Here we are doing the podcast. I mean,
Absolutely.
So,
creativity.
Come on, man. I don't know. I just do not subscribe to the curl up and die mentality. I really don't, because I honestly feel like, you got to be safe, right? We're trying to stay alive. This is a serious, serious thing. Crisis.
For me, so right now, literally in Chicago,
we survived the crack era.
Well,
come on, man. Are you serious right now?
Even Mayor Barry survived the crack.
We survived the crack era.
Yeah. But in Chicago right now, 70% of all
is man-made.
70% of all deaths.
Yeah.
70% of all deaths in Chicago are Black right now. 70%. Their voice
is bigger than COVID. I think it's for us, we just have to really kind of weather the storm like everything else, come up with solutions, figure out how to stay on top of our finances. And, folks are doing a lot of budgeting right now.
I was going to say, does it make us better?
It should. It should, right?
To get better.
You should take the opportunity to fine-tune some things, So
I think America's been controlled by materialism. I've got to have the next thing. I've got to keep up with the Joneses, So I do think that this might be a time when maybe we reset, we recalibrate a bit,
Well, you're looking at what you spend now. Folks are more conscious. You go to the grocery store, you get what's necessary, right?
Yeah.
You're not
package of toilet paper.
You're not just picking up nonsense just because. Even how you wash clothes, I think, we probably wash clothes more now than we ever did.
Yeah.
So even with this virus, we're trying to keep a healthy lifestyle, making sure, things are germ free, right? So you have to buy these products.
Yeah.
You don't think Lysol hasn't went up? The stocks ain't go up in Clorox and, Johnson & Johnson? Of course they have. Where are the donations from those companies?
That's very fair. That's a very fair point. Why are we not learning from history though? Like I'm thinking about in 1918, started in August. Okay.
Yeah, but I wasn't there. You wasn't there.
The Spanish flu was there. The influenza, which we are still fighting.
I don't know what that was like.
How many people die from the flu even today? We're still battling that, right?
The best teacher is experience, man. And
but here's what happened. But we have to learn
to understand it. I can read all day about the Spanish flu, but I don't know shit about it. I mean,
let me tell you something. That's why it's out there and we're not doing anything with it. It started in Boston. It spread to the West Coast, and San Francisco literally created a group called the Anti-Mask League.
No, all these are facts.
These are all facts. Absolutely.
But we are hard-headed as a people. And so we have to go through things.
They fought it.
We have to feel it, and it has to affect us.
More people died then because they took their mask off than 9/11. More people died 9/11. You know what I mean? Because they decided, no, F this mask. I'm not wearing it. That's crazy to me. And here we are. And that was the relapse. In other words,
Right.
At first they had them on, and then when they took them off, there was a relapse. So I'm thinking about Georgia. Is there going to be a relapse? And it's going to be detrimental to the state. And how does that impact the rest of the country if people are able to travel and go other places? I don't know. I just think it's 58% of Americans think we're moving too fast. 32% of Americans think we're moving too slow. You know, what do you think? That's the question.
It's not, I don't even think it's a group effort on this. I think you just got to do you. I think you just got to do you.
That's true American fashion, right?
And to my point, you know, yes, you know, we can do the research, we can study, we can go back, we can look at all the statistics and the facts, and all those things are very true.
Yes.
But we just have this repetitive type of trend as a people.
Yeah.
Where, you know, we have to actually physically experience something. It has to affect our families. We have to go through it for us to say, you know what, this is real.
Yeah.
Right. And then here we go, like, but they've been saying it's real.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we know, but it doesn't matter until it
comes home, until it hits you. And that, I think that is being,
that's the scary piece.
That's the product of being the number one most individualized country in the world. It's all about me, employee of the month, employee of the week, student of the week, VIP, get mine, get it good, look out for number one. That is America, competitive, individual. And so until we...
Yeah, I can challenge that. I can challenge that a little bit, only because even with that same, that individualized type of mindset, we also are, you know, very team oriented. Look at the U.S. government, you know, the Army, the Navy, the Marines, you know, it's all type of, I think America's actually probably more cliquish. It's a status quo type of thing. You have to fall in a bracket, right? Because it's never about who you are. It's always about who you know, right?
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Right. It's all about who you know. So to me, yeah, you know, you can be the best guy. There's definitely a guy better than Michael Jordan, right? But do you have the same look? So no, we are very cliquish. It's a status thing. It's how you network. That's how this country survives.
So Sophie, when you hear Leon, you know, Queens, born and raised, inner city,
suburbia as well.
You know, and then also with some suburbia, you know,
Spring Valley,
you hear my point as well. What are the thoughts that are going through your head as a facilitator here?
I mean, I think you both have really good points. I think you both talk over each other a lot, which is where you have these conflicting views, especially like considering both of your backgrounds. I mean, Dad, you grew up in a white home.
Fair.
Very very conservative, religiously.
Just put it out there.
I just have to. I mean, I have to. You know, it's just, I mean, if you like, you hear
when you said
coming back from kind of more of this.
Like, I don't know what else is coming out right now, you know. So
let me look. No, but there's just, it's two different cultures.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, look, for me, God bless my parents, because we had friends of all walks of life, you know, from, I said, Jewish to Indian to, you know, different ethnic groups of African Americans, from the Caribbeans, Spanish, Ecuadorians, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, you know, Koreans, New York City, New York State.
It was a mosaic.
Oh my goodness, man. It's peace to New York City. Yeah. Queens.
Communities. Having that access to everyone's different stories, whereas I'm not saying, Luke, you don't understand that, because you came across that. Like you're in that right now. Like you're
spent a month in China, was in the Kingdom of Saudi, was in Colombia, Brazil, right?
Different
knowledge hungry.
Yeah.
The areas were just very different. You know, who you were surrounded with was different. So what you saw at different periods of your lives were different. So both of you have really good points. They're just coming from different perspectives. And so, and I think that's key to good conversation. And I mean, you can't learn with just one perspective. So I think taking the time to listen to each other instead of talking over each other, is this, you know, something to think about.
Spoken like a true gifted mediator right there. Yes.
However, I think you both have really good points.
Yeah. Have you thought about this some? Have you thought about, what do you think about, you think we're moving too fast? Do you think we got to get the economy going? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I want to go back to just the main topic of, George is talking about opening up more services, I guess, you know, and kind of trying to produce this revenue. However, kids aren't in school. Does that mean school's open? If they don't open, who's going to watch the kids if all the parents have to go back to work?
Fair. So
but if we're putting all these kids in one place, then that risks even like a more widespread infection, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, you have these kids coming from different homes. You don't know what's been going on. They may not be quarantined.
Right.
You know, and so now we're putting them all into one tight space and teachers. And then you're sending everyone out to work, and then you're coming home. I mean, I just feel like that's a terrible idea. Just like point blank, you're putting so many more people in danger because you're not thinking about all the different communities that you're joining together.
So let's talk about schools.
What do you do?
Right.
So what do you do?
But then also, I mean, if you're talking about a lot of families are impoverished and it's only going downhill from here because they're not making money, because they can't work, because
does the poverty get even deeper or
and then think of the education for the kids. So you have people who have internet, you have families who have internet and other resources for school. You can find tutors online and pay for like a homeschool system. Okay, great. But then what's going on with all the children who are in low-income communities, impoverished communities,
even rural communities, right?
They can't afford internet.
I'm saying it in the sticks.
Right. Like, so then now there's this gap within the education field. So how is that going to affect them long term?
No, I think there's some real long-term issues here. I think it's sad that right now it's becoming very politicized, you know.
Right.
The right is saying, no, it's all about the economy, which has always been a staple of the conservative movement, is fiscal responsibility, versus the kind of social, emotional world of the Democrats or the left, the progressive, that are saying, no, you know, let's support each other. Let's the rich give to the poor, businesses give back. Let's support each other as one nation under God, and let's move forward together. And so, but it is a political issue now more than it's becoming anything else, and that saddens me a bit. But I'm interested in schools. I really am interested in schools. Lee, you've got a kid, school-age kid. What's going on with school? Let's talk about schools for a little bit.
Well, there might not be school in the fall. You know, it's a high possibility. Here we are going into May. Well, we're in May. Sorry. I just try not to get wrapped up too much in it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I try to look at the optimism in every situation. So even in that essence where my son is at home, and, you know, naturally, as his father, I'm his first educator anyway. I'm his first teacher.
Should be, right.
No, that you are obligated to be that for your children. That, you know, you teach them. So now we just tap into, you know, okay, school curriculum, and then, you know, just add some more and then expand the horizons. I don't know. I just don't think it's a gloomy thing.
Yeah.
I don't think my son being at home and me having to teach him is a bad thing.
You know,
bring him here. Like, you know, come on, man.
You know, having spent about 30 years in the field or in the world of education, even though I'm in a different setting now in private education, residential education, self-contained education, my mind still goes to, what would I be thinking about right now if I'm getting ready to start school for kids in the fall? And so I'm thinking about things like the floor plan. Is there a way that we can have of course, a single point of entry? Are we taking the temperature of every kid that comes in through the door every morning? What's that look like logistically? Do you have hallways that go in one direction so that you're not past each other? Do you have only half of the kids going on certain days and half of the kids going on other certain days?
Right.
So that you can create social distancing in your school? Do you have lunch served in the classroom and don't have that congregated area in the classroom? I mean, in the cafeteria, you have it in the classroom. I'm just trying to think through the logistics.
Well, I think the scary part about it all is that everything is changing by the minute. Exactly. Right? So it's hard to put a plan together. Right. You can't really put a plan together if you don't know what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah. And how does all this impact it? Like Sophie was saying, parents having to stay at home with kids if they're underaged and or for a half a day, and then how does that impact the economy, which we were just talking about? I think it's a very complicated situation. One thing I do know factually is that distance education, virtual education, is not a substitute for the real thing.
No,
virtually to Mount Kilimanjaro is different than hiking Mount Kilimanjaro yourself, you know what I mean? And the learning is so different. And so what are the long-term effects if we end up having to do virtual college, virtual high school, middle school, elementary school, when you really need the hands-on, the manipulatives, the kinesthetic learning?
Right. So then how do you
we become dumber as a nation is what I'm wondering in the future, you know?
I don't know, because I still think that, you know, information is accessible, right?
To most, we'll say, in this day and age. To most.
Well, because that's a real argument, right? Who has accessibility to the information,
the haves and the have-nots, right?
Well, it boils down to that piece. I was talking to my mom, and we had this debate about, you know, I feel like a large percent of the nation has Wi-Fi accessibility, and they have, you know, access to information. I don't know, man. I want my kid in school. I want him with his friends. I want him being social. I want him, you know, being with the teacher, going on field trips. Of course, that's what school should be about. But if my back is to the wall and my option is to educate my child, I'm not looking at it like it's gloomy either.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rise in that occasion. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. No, that's and man, I wish there were more.
Because you gotta still keep your mental health tight with this.
Oh, man. And that's another thing, right?
You know, I'm not about to lose my mind over this, man.
When adolescents are it's so important for adolescents to be learning how to become more independent, how to think for themselves. They need their space. They need to be able to experiment, and they're locked inside these cocoons. Does that change the very nature of the way the mind is developing, if it's over a long period of time in our young people, and how does that impact the future? I mean, those are the kind of things I'm thinking about, you know. I don't know.
You got to live in today.
Yeah. But today, for many people, schools take care of food, schools take care of healthcare, schools take care of emotional well-being and emotional stability, schools take care of social services.
Right. So So that's the question, and that's all I'm saying. So with all that being said, what do you do for you and yours?
Yeah.
What do you do for you and your family to sustain?
Yeah. No, and I think
if all that becomes a reality,
yeah.
what do? Do you curl up? Or are you just going to buckle?
Right. Or do you get creative?
Like, we're going to find another alternate route to make something happen again.
There it is. Homeschoolers.
You mean to tell me that the dollar's not going to stop circulating? Come on.
Right. What can we learn from those who've been homeschooling for years? Right.
We got to tap into another type of development.
Yeah. Right now, the homeschool parents are saying, we've been doing this for we've got.
And let me tell you, they're chilling right now.
Right. They're not panicking, are they?
So, and that's what I'm saying, right? When all those resources are stripped from us, what do we do?
Yeah. I still think there are winners and losers no matter what, and the gap widens between the haves and the have-nots.
Well, unfortunately, right, as much, and I say because we actually, you and I, the three of us, we give back on it daily. Right. We give back. So I do feel like I'm entitled to have this viewpoint.
Yeah.
I feel like the people I work with who are less fortunate, I try to make it balanced to where even with the knowledge, even with how to take care of yourself, what to read, right, what path you should try to take, the choices you should make, advice, right, sometimes just listening. Right? How we're just that, because I think that when, a lot of us sit up here and we look down.
Yeah.
And the moment, for one, I've been poor. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
It's been rough. I watched my mom struggle.
Yeah.
And I watched her come up and make it happen. So I know that there is, probability in this, right? It's not just a losing thing. It's about trying to put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
So
circumstances that you're in. Yeah.
Take the schools. I'll build one in my house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You take the groceries. I'm going to start a garden in my yard. I can't go back. Respectfully, I can't go back and say, "Yo, my bad. You don't got a yard, fam. I work for mine. You should have been up 10 years ago."
This is, and this is where you and I probably disagree, respectfully.
Okay.
Because I oftentimes there are people who come from poverty like you and I, who have been able to, I don't know, we've found a way. We have found a drive. We have found a way to navigate.
Was it about who you knew?
In part. I mean, I definitely can't say I pulled myself up by my own bootstraps, and I don't think you're saying that either, right? Know. Yeah, so there we agree. But this whole idea of generational poverty as opposed to circumstantial poverty is a very important piece. Right now, a lot of people are experiencing circumstantial poverty because they've been furloughed or their job dissolved, and they were making $60,000 a year, and all of a sudden they don't have a job. And
so
very different from slavery, not being taught to read and write, and you pass those losses on to the next generation. Very, very different.
When everything is taken from you, and it's just you and your family, and there's no more resources, how much mental space are you giving that person? Realistically.
I mean, are you talking about like?
I'm saying that here we are in a pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. And let's just say the schools are taken, and let's say it becomes this whole thing where we have to really fend for ourselves.
Yeah, where are people starting though? People are starting in a ranch 4-bedroom house with
but I'm asking
someone
you, I'm asking you, when it affects you and yours, your family, how much do you think about that other person?
I see. You're thinking about you.
Right? and that's my point. That's the American
what am I going to do? Right. In this.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Right. So all I'm saying is these moments now where we're able to share information and come to make it even and go out into the community and talk to the kids and work with them and build with them and give them those gems and somewhat, a pathway for success while we can, right?
Yeah.
I can only have that mindset because I'm doing it now when, we're not at that point. So yeah. I'm saying I am pushing my people to get to that point.
No,
I want everyone to come with us, right?
Yeah.
But when it hits the fan, bro, and it's just me and my kids, and
yeah,
bro, hey, I'm shutting my door.
Yeah, each to their own, right? I mean,
yeah, peace.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Each to their
own.
God
bless you.
So do you think? So I'm wondering about then. That's at the micro level. At the macro level, when you think about a government right now, and these billions and billions of dollars of stimulus money, very different approach than China. And I'm not trying to just compare ourselves to China, but China, I think in 20 years will be so far ahead of most other countries because some of the decisions that they're making in these times of struggle. They too have put out a stimulus package, but they took the money and they threw it into infrastructure instead of into their people for a long-term support of people instead of a short-term, here's $1 now, we'll just pay the piper later as the infrastructure continues to erode in our country. They're using their stimulus money to build new jobs and new things. So when they do come out of it, there is opportunity, greater opportunity for more people where we're saying, hey, you get $1,200 now. And we're like, yes, $1,200. That's 1 week of pay on average, in America. And we're all titillated by that when really, are you kidding me? For what end to go into debt at that level so we can go shop more and buy more things to put money into the current economy? What are we doing about the future? I think
I'll tell you what,
real concern.
Amazon trucks are still hitting the freeway in the interstates, man.
True. People are shopping from home.
Let's not act like it's ceased. No, they're still buying.
But I wonder what credit card debt looks like right now, right?
There's a lot of consolidations.
Yeah. My wife used to hate when I didn't have work and I'd be at home because I'd get on QVC and I'd be like, oh, look at that Esteban guitar, or look at that steam buggy and how it can clean the couch, And so I'm buying stuff I don't need just because I'm home and restless, And we had to nip that. Yeah, we had to nip that in the bud real quick. But right now, you're right. A lot of spending is still taking place.
So Sophia, can we move on to our next topic? We're going to wrap this up. I think we spent maybe 45 minutes on Corona.
Hey, we covered schools. We did cover schools. We did cover Georgia.
Yeah, no, these are all important things. Absolutely.
So this next topic is Michael Jordan versus everybody. I don't know much about sports.
This should be a short conversation, I think.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to let you guys take this one.
I'm up to episode 8.
Well, wait a minute. Only 4 have come out publicly.
Yeah. I shouldn't be saying anything.
No.
But listen, I cried last night.
All right, so don't spoil it for those.
No, I'm not going to spoil it. I mean, it's Michael Jordan. What is there to spoil?
Good point. He's been under a microscope for a long time.
Oh, my God. It's like almost 35 years of just footage.
So what's the question when you say Michael Jordan versus everybody? What are we talking about?
Well, when I asked that, it was more so about the timing of the release.
Oh.
Right? Why now?
Perseverance, determination.
Is there some shaking of the legacy? I don't know. Look, to me, I grew up on Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Well, listen.
And I'm still the first to say Kobe Bryant's a better basketball player.
What? Are you kidding me right now?
No, I'm serious.
No. Listen. even by best accounts, even by any account, I didn't even think I'd hear that name in the conversation. Maybe LeBron, maybe. I mean, I'm hearing you with Kobe, but by all accounts, when you look at top 50, when you talk 50 top players by all accounts, Kobe's always around 5, 6, 7, not even 1, 2, 3.
Well, he's 1. Jordan's
one?
2. Kobe's 1.
In your mind?
I mean, does it matter who else is lineup?
That's fair. That's fair. No, touche.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't even matter. Like,
respectfully, I gotta give that to you right there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I only say that, and I remember lunch table battles, man. You would have this who's better, this person or this person, and it's like what we love in it is debating the facts. And
so let's talk
Kobe
about
and Michael are very identical. Michael's definitely the master teacher. Kobe's definitely the student. Okay. Let's put that in perspective.
All right. So you're still saying 1 and 2. That's
for sure. Well, the thing is, man, Mike had to walk so Kobe could fly, so LeBron could soar, man. So
here's the thing. Things that
the game is getting easier. You know that too.
Well, in a way,
yes. Michael, the Knicks and Bulls, Pistons and Bulls.
Listen.
The level of aggression and violence in these
the officials, that's true. So why don't you give Michael more props when he's coming through when officials called nothing?
I don't give him props for
when other guys came
out. Those guys can't help when they came out.
Fair.
Kobe can't help that he was in the '96 draft.
No, but you've gotta at least add that to the merit.
That's just by design.
That he had to overcome so much. Like he was playing against 6 players, 7 or 8 players.
I get it. Why talk about the challenges if you made the choices?
All right. Here's a choice. And
I'm just saying, he chose to play ball.
I'm talking to my son-in-law the other night. He makes some very good points. 1, Michael Jordan went to 3 years of college. 3 years he could have been padding his stats. Okay. Possibly winning more championships. I mean, he's given up 3 years that Kobe didn't give up, that LeBron
didn't give up because he was a champion in college. He did not give up.
But let me tell you,
playing for Dean Smith, and he won a chip.
All right, so 3 years where he's not padding his stats, so we can't look at those stats. Plus another 2 years where he went and played.
That's
baseball.
Not true.
5 years.
They definitely show. Hey, they show that last shot, that game-winning shot in UNC all the time.
Absolutely. That's great. But it didn't help his professional stats. Second of all, back then,
collegiate stats.
When he went with the text winner triangle offense and had to sacrifice points per game, taking over the game, by himself, putting it on his shoulder, as Kobe did.
LH, he made a choice, man.
No, he made a choice. In. The choice was
okay. So why are we praising him? I'm not praising Michael Jordan for making a choice that made him more successful. I'm saying good looking Mike for showing me the path, but I'm not praising him like, oh man, poor him. He sacrificed. He ain't sacrificed anything. 6 championships later. Come on, man. Yeah, it was a winning technique. He will be a fool not to buy it.
There's Kobe right there, right?
Doesn't matter. Be respectful. Be respectful.
May you rest in peace. I'm just being honest about it, though. I don't think that's the comparison. You might want to compare LeBron, but Michael didn't go to a big 3, big 3 in Miami. Michael went with Bill Cartwright, B.J. Armstrong.
Well, I still got Kevin Durant over LeBron James.
That's fair. That's fair.
I watched Kevin Durant drop 63 at the Rocket,
Yeah, I can't argue that. No, the fact that he even went to the Rocker, you know what I mean, and just showed out.
Kobe's been there. I don't see no footage of Mike.
Yeah, no, that's fair, but
Kobe went there after 3 rings, after his 3-peat.
Yeah, spoken like a true New Yorker. You know, like Rucker, like, you know, my boy, you know, my boy who did the And One tape that lives.
Oh, you were so short of calling me a northerner.
You know, you know, I mean, no, not the world of basketball doesn't revolve around Rutgers, but it is. I'll give it its respect, but come on, you know.
No, I mean, look, Madison Square Garden. These places are, you know, these are staples.
Yeah. No, I understand.
You can't talk basketball without talking about the Rucker and Madison Square Garden.
I just know that
Battery Park.
You know, when I grew up and I was playing 1-to-1,
hey,
one-on-one by myself, Magic versus Bird, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were my heroes in my time. And then Magic says, "No, I've passed the baton. Michael's the best player that's ever played the game." I mean,
that sounded cute. How old?
And he's a Laker.
How old were you?
He's a Laker.
Got to answer that question. How old were you?
When I was playing one-on-one by myself, you know, out in the are you talking
when
about
you heard that statement, when you heard that actual statement, how old were you?
I was probably in my late 20s.
Okay, see right there. Stop.
Yeah.
Thank you. Stop. Please. Just let that rest.
But Michael wasn't out there before that when I was younger.
Let that rest. Oh my God. You had a high top.
I did. I was kidding play. Well, actually.
Hey, you know what you should watch? You gotta check out that Stephon Marbury.
She says, "Were you though?" Yeah, really, I had a mullet. You know, it was a little weird.
Hey, that's gross.
I was the only black person in my whole community with a mullet.
With the mullet is nasty. That is nasty.
Oh, listen, business
nasty
in the front,
work.
Party in the back.
No, I feel like you had cut off denim shirts too.
They were homemade.
Right there on the sleeves. 3
I had
buttons.
some patches on them.
I didn't have velour. I had terry cloth.
Oh, that is nasty. You used to tuck in your wife beaters.
Grandma wouldn't let him wear those.
With the belt.
I couldn't wear a wife beater. Are you kidding me? No, that's how it would be, though. I mean, yeah, no, you got a good point, but we digress. Now, listen, can we talk about – so we're just going to have to agree to disagree, Michael versus Kobe.
No, and that's fair. I love Michael Jordan, man. I love Michael Jordan. He is the greatest, but I favor Kobe Bryant. I favor Kobe Bryant.
That's fair. That's a fair statement.
How do you guys – like, what do you think the seasons are going to – or next season's going to look like?
On professional sports?
Just sports in general, because if we kind of take last topic and bring it in, like what's going to happen? Good
question. Great question. I mean, does this hurt Kawhi Leonard's chance of ever being the greatest, which I think he has potential to be? But anyway.
No, for sure. Injury-free. Injury-free.
In general, right? Just in general sports. Like, I bought a baseball package because I love the St. Louis Cardinals. I watch baseball every night. They're not giving any money back, you know, like what's that? You know, I made the choice to buy the package. Yeah. There's no baseball. Will there ever be baseball? You know, I mean, this is talk about social distancing. There's none in professional.
I feel like baseball would probably be the best or have the best chance of coming back because you're pretty spread out on the field.
Hey, that's a great point. Yeah, great
so
point.
Maybe there'll be baseball, but nothing else.
Yeah, golf.
Maybe some track and field.
Yeah, they're too close in the lanes.
Gymnastics. There it is.
What about soccer?
Baseball.
No soccer.
Spread out a little bit. You're a soccer player, so soccer.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll let us. If they would let soccer play, because you got to defend.
You're right on it. You got a mark. You got a mark.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting, right? Because LeBron put out a tweet where he stated, you know, there's no rumors about canceling next season or this season. We would like to finish our season. We'll see. We'll see. You know, it was really weird watching WrestleMania with just two guys in the ring. It felt really weird.
No crowd.
It felt weird. That's
weird.
You know.
Wait, how can they still wrestle? That's not social distancing. You're all up on each other.
No, exactly.
Like,
they have masks on? Like, what? I mean, they're just like.
Well, that's because I don't know. McMahon is real cool with Trump, weird. So there might be something there. I don't know. It is. Yeah, he's really cool with Trump. So.
You talking about McMahon?
Yeah, that's his boy. They're tight.
Yeah.
That if you inject the bleach, then you can.
Listen. I'm not even going there. I'm like,
No. You know what I want to talk about though?
Yeah.
Let's talk about. Okay, have you guys seen Waco?
I did see Waco.
I loved it.
Loved it.
So
Is that fair to say? Should I not say loved it though?
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, I did enjoy the acting. I enjoyed it.
Because it's a different viewpoint.
No.
Okay.
I shouldn't say I loved. Like, I'm not saying I loved Waco as in what
I
happened
love
and all
both.
of that. What I'm saying is the series was well done. How's that?
Right,
The series
right.
was well done.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
you were telling, like, I want to hear more about what you were saying because you
Yeah,
said,
he was
like, you
there.
said you remember.
Oh,
Yeah, you were there, man.
1993. Are you kidding me?
And that took me to a whole nother, like, you told me that halfway through watching the season. And so then that changed my whole perspective on it.
And you know, when I grew up, one state away, you know, that feels a little different too. But what I remember is not even for a second doubting that the message that came from the government and through the news media would possibly be inaccurate. Like, there was no other perspective. Knowledge is power, meaning the person in power gets to spew the knowledge that they want to be held on to as truth. And that's exactly what happened in that case, because the ATF, the FBI, the national government said this is what happened. And
Right.
now this is a completely different perspective. All these years later, it blew my mind. It blew my
And
mind.
whose perspectives is this?
So this comes from the negotiator who you know, he wrote a book, and he was the one that was trying to talk, you know, have a peaceful resolve to this. And it's also written based on the book by David Thibodeau,
Yeah, Thibodeau.
right? And his perspective, which is one of the 9 survivors, you know, there were only 9 that really survived, and he was one of them.
How desperate was he, man, to just follow this dude, man, from a music store? Like, what's up?
So that brings me like to 2020, and especially during COVID-19, this again is a perfect time for recruitment into cults, right?
Right.
You know, people get into cults when there's high levels of stress or dissatisfaction or something. Maybe there's they're gullible. Maybe there's a desire to just belong to a group. I mean, I look at basketball games where all you have to do in college is put on the Duke shirt and you're a Cameron crazy and you just feel like you're a part of something. People want to belong to something. Maybe there's some spiritual searching. Maybe there's disillusion with the culture. But here's this drummer, you know, here's this guy. What was going on that he would quickly go to a spiritual leader and see them as the Messiah? You know,
and stay. Like, that's the thing.
Stay.
Is, like, there were so many times where, like, he's talking to his he's questioning it. He now has spoilers, but he's
130 people. 130 people stayed. You know, they're in there.
like, and
It
they
was like
like truly
77 acre
believe.
like compound or something like that, right?
What was it?
Seriously,
Wasn't like a 77 acre compound or something like that?
77 acre Mount Carmel, 77 acres.
Wow.
So all of a sudden, and this is kind of crazy. So the local government, well, and then they connected with the feds, I guess, but they decided, hey, they've got a lot of militia. They got a lot of guns and weapons out there. We need to take those from them. I mean, that's what this was over, right?
So you could legally marry a 14-year-old with a parental consent in Texas during that time, right?
I'm not sure you
can
have
also
sex with
have
a 10-year-old.
firearms
Yeah.
and sell and trade your firearms for collateral during that time.
It's true. Wide open. It's the Wild West in some ways, right?
Both of those facts are disgusting and scary.
The fact that in his mind that he believed it was okay to sleep with someone as young as 10 years of age and marry someone at the age of 12 and
and
get
no
her
one
pregnant.
questioned it. Oh, well, God told him to. So now I have
Unbelievable.
how many wives? How
Yeah.
many? And then
Yeah.
like the husbands to the wives that now this Messiah, he says, I'm the lamb.
Yeah.
But, like, and so God told me I have to have a child with
your wife.
And they're like,
Like,
oh, God said it?
hey,
Okay.
Sound
Hey,
like
to quote yourself as the lamb is
Like,
nasty.
no.
I'm the lamb.
I'm the
I'm the
lamb.
Lamb of God.
Lamb of God, and I need to have my baby.
Oh, that's
All of you need to have my babies.
So I'm thinking about
that's a wicked presentation, I'm telling you.
Like, what?
But look, women went for that. Sick. They went for that game.
again.
I'm the lamb. Have my child.
If a guy came up to me and said, "Hey, I'm the lamb. I'm the Lamb of God," I would.
I don't think that's true. Since you outed me, I think I'm gonna out you a little bit.
Okay.
I've seen you be influenced, very influenced by gregarious, charismatic, talented men. They've come into your life and you're like, I'm going to drive through the worst of storms to get to watch this band because of this guy or this, that, you know.
Are they calling themselves the Lamb?
Oh, God. It's more of like, hey, there's free food at this show.
Still mind control. Are you serious? You're going to put your life at risk to go and see someone?
Hey.
Come on.
Well, I think that has more to do with music than
there it is. It's the culture of music.
Yeah, that's culture, man.
It's not. I didn't, like, it wasn't about, like, I wasn't dating this guy. There was nothing going on with this guy. We were just friends. I was friends with this whole band, and they were having a show. It just happened to be in Rochester.
I've been to mad shows.
New York, and Buffalo.
Mad shows. Those are some of the best shows.
It was phenomenal. I got backstage passes.
Local band shows, local hip hop act shows.
It was incredible.
Smelly club, packed in, 100 plus, right?
I was
wall to wall.
in Indiana.
Oh, that feeling's insane, man. Love it.
A New Year's music show.
Awesome.
See?
So what were we? What was I saying? We were talking about this wake.
Am I frozen?
No.
No, you're good.
Okay.
So one of the things that let me just give you some perspective about Waco in '93 at the time. Picture this little compound out there on 77 acres. 600 agents surround the compound. 600 with tanks and armored vehicles, and 44 people were released before the 51 days was up.
Right.
And 75 people were left in there or something. But armored vehicles, tanks, more than 600 agents, all over this idea of we got to get 250 weapons out of this compound.
Well, what was interesting to me was the CS gas that, historically what it did, in other situations like this, and the fact that the FBI did have information about this and they were well aware of it,
right? And
they still applied it.
Yeah. And of course it's combustible, and they're blaming
the theory of these guys saying the fire inside was
as a mass suicide, And when we're thinking about, and we just took that as truth because we had the Jim Jones drinking the Kool-Aid. That's where that whole saying, don't drink the Kool-Aid, comes from, because they all drank the Jim Jones Kool-Aid. And so mass suicide, so it's already in our minds, mass suicide equals cult life if there's trouble. And sure enough, we're saying, the Davidians, they all committed suicide, all 75 of them, and we just, okay, that's done. They were weird anyway. And we went on with history until now. Unbelievable.
Well, I do think that, on a whole nother entertainment and marketing side, we as a people, we love this. We love this for media. Yeah. We love this for ratings. We love this for newspaper sales, magazine covers, conversation, what we're doing now.
Absolutely.
Right. So there's also, oddly enough, this weird level of interest that we have, and these organizations that are very low kept. These guys weren't bothering anyone, though it's very weird and it was very inappropriate.
They've been around since 1955.
Right. They weren't bothering anyone.
No. Ben
Did they
Roden.
need to be investigated? Absolutely.
Sure, but there was a way to go
With
about
a 10-year-old needs to be handcuffed. So,
And had they made a threat on anyone, had they provoked anyone, they were living peacefully out there. Now, protecting the kids that were forced to have sex, and maybe there were some beatings, some coercion, some examples made of people.
well, let me ask you: before David, was that typical practice of the Branch Davidians?
Yeah.
Or was that just him as the lamb saying, "Hey, because I am who I am, give me your, give me your kids"? That sounds gross.
Fair. We'd have to really do some research looking at Ben Roden. I think it's like RHODIN or ROHDIN. Roden was the last name, and then when he died, David Caress, which I think his real name was Vernon Howell or something like that, right? And and he changed his name to David, probably as in King David, the son of God's beloved. But anyway,
I thought Koresh was a Jewish name.
And Koresh is an interesting name to choose, isn't it? I don't understand much about Koresh, why he chose that name. But
very off the wall.
But to your point, no, I think there was definitely some history of multiple wives, some history of using corporal punishment to keep kids in line, things like that.
So let's talk about that one scene with the ice cream.
With the ice cream?
Well, look, he went ape shit, and he goes, "All right, everybody to the room." And he goes to get a bucket of vanilla ice cream, and everyone's getting a spoonful.
Right.
That alone creeped me out. The sharing of the spoon and the ice cream was disgusting. That was disgusting.
But when I think about...
And he called it a licking.
But when I think about the characteristics of cult, right? There's 4 characteristics that make up a cult. One, they have to have a charismatic leader. That makes up a cult, right? They have to have some type of transcendent belief system that somehow this gets them closer to God, or to a omnipotent presence. They have to, and then here are the two where the ice cream.
Now, was that desperation or hope? I don't want to cut you off, but I want to ask you that. Is that hope or desperation?
The belief system?
Yeah, feeling.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I think it comes from
that more.
It's both, right? I mean, it comes from either desperation,
absolutely, yeah,
dissatisfaction. Maybe they're gullible.
Who would be more vulnerable to that? Because I would like to know, just amongst David's, fellowship.
Yeah. What were those people going through?
Those people were successful or was able to sustain a good way of living.
Yeah.
How much did this help those people, the 77-acre compound and food
But they had to keep to themselves. They were done with the world.
And they were poor there.
Water. They
were poor there.
But the last 2 components of a cult, systems of control and systems of influence. And even that singular spoon and some of that all fits right into that system of control, system of influence by the charismatic leader. I think, and right now, I wonder how many cults are springing up in 2020 because of it's a perfect recruitment ground into the world, earthquakes in Croatia and Russia and Texas, locusts in East Africa that ruined crops and livelihood. And now what people are calling this global pestilence, that's a biblical word, pestilence, and so people will tie it to the Bible and say God's punishing, finally, he's come to get his wrath.
But that's crazy, man, because I've always felt like, from Waco to the black church to
Manson with his 100 followers of
it is to the core preying on the weak and poor.
Yeah, it is.
You have women working 7 days a week and giving tithes. Now we don't tell people what to do with their money, but I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. No,
the guy who's taking it, he ain't saying much.
Lots of questions when I think about the differences between just religion, in organized religion in general, the characteristics of organized religion in general, and
economic value,
and who is drawn to such to either, and for what reason.
Ask you, is there more churches in a poor community or in a wealthy community?
You would think in a poor community, because it gives them
I've seen
hope.
churches right across the streets from liquor stores.
Yeah, because it's there to
Let's talk about it.
Give hope, right?
Right.
If we could, I mean, I need church just to give me enough encouragement to get through this next week. And you'll see a difference in urban churches or rural poor churches in the level of like charismatic involvement, whether it's the Snakes in Appalachia, Pentecostal, or whether it's the black church in America that's saying, hey, you know, God will give us hope to get through this dark time. You know, it just seems like it's more alive and charismatic. The more you need God, the more bought in you are. I go to these rich, wealthy churches and people sit there like it's just a social activity.
That's it.
That's cultural to see your friends and to hold a certain status.
It's a nice cheese platter and a Bible.
Exactly. And now with those mega churches, the coffee bars,
Come on, man, they're killing it.
No, and they're and
$1 billion business.
Absolutely, it's $1 million. I mean, millions are being run. And then on top of that, if you preach the prosperity gospel, that if you give to me and God's gonna bless you. You're gonna be able to get that new car, but give that offering first and foremost. You know, I'm thinking, what are we?
Hey, you know what I used to love? I used to love those. You know this guy, pop, white guy, infomercials, selling holy water.
Oh yeah.
What's his name, man?
Yeah. Well, even back in the day,
well, he's making money.
Jim Baker, Tammy Faye, you know what they were doing? Yeah, they'd sell water.
He's selling water and calling it miracle water.
Yeah, artifacts from the Holy Lands, you know.
And people are buying this.
And they do. They buy it. Because
what am I doing right now?
I should have bottled the water from the Ganja River when I was in India.
I could be just like calling it like purified water or some nonsense.
Right.
Oh, I see. People love new. People love what's new. I'm telling you, man.
I used to speak on this tour with the Lutheran Church to their youth. I'd go city to city and give these weekend kind of presentations, Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning. And one of the things that always intrigued me is that the vendors that were right outside the worship area, right? And there's always someone that's selling real, silver and wood carvings from the Holy Lands, relics, right? And then someone, of course, Compassion International, Adopted Child was always there, right? And so, but they catch you right when you're at that emotional high, feeling close to God. The music was just right. The speaker was just right. And you come out and they're like, boom, they're dropping $20, $40 on materials and crosses and rings that are crosses, virgin rings, chastity rings and all this. Yeah, right. You know, you going to prom, you getting ready to hook it up, even with your little ring on. It was just crazy to me. I'm like, they'd play the song. They would play the song, Come As You Are. But shit, people be living, sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. People be leaving the place just as they were. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but with this emotional high and then buying products, there's always that consumer piece. God bless America. Amazing.
Oh, for sure.
Democracy.
All right.
Capitalism, yes.
Last topic of the day. We'll wrap this up. So, three of us are creators, clearly. And here we are having to maximize those talents as we see on Instagram between Teddy Riley, Babyface, Little John, T-Pain, Manny, Scott Storch, RZA, Primo.
Teddy Riley.
I thought Teddy killed. I thought he killed him.
I didn't realize how they're both so gifted. Babyface, Teddy Riley, but I tell you what, Babyface was not very articulate. I don't know.
Why? Because he's a man of many of little words.
He just couldn't get his words. He's a brilliant. He's a genius. But I just expected him to speak more like, I compare him to like Pharrell or Usher. People I've seen on like those talent shows as judges and things. The Voice. But no, he was not.
Hey, so is that fair to say that? With one gift, you have to swap out the other?
I just thought he was multi-talented. Like, I thought he had multiple gifts, but he just needs to stay in his lane and produce that music and sing. He'll be all right.
Yeah, no. He's not passing the SAT.
No, it's really interesting. I don't know. But Teddy Riley was just, the list went on. The songs that both of them were playing, I had no idea that they produced those songs. I was just blown away.
Teddy has a whole sound. New Jack Swing is...
The whole New Jack Swing is after him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether it's Jade or Heavy D or,
you got Guy and Bobby and... Yeah, no, Teddy, I would love to see his biopic. I would love to see a Teddy Riley biopic and all the groups and the eras from Guy to Black Street to Uptown Records to, all those different things. I would love to see that.
So to your point, the thing that really has struck me is that we're getting a kind of the curtain pulled back into the lives of some of these artists that we've never been able to experience before. To hear Jermaine Dupri talk about his 8-year relationship with Janet Jackson because they're locked in quarantine and they have a conversation, you know what I mean? Like, he never really came open about stuff like that. And I'm just like glued to it. And I'm also thinking, how in the hell did this guy get with Janet Jackson, number one, right? Just because he gives her a 2-way pager. But we would never know these stories without some of this kind of time alone.
Very true.
Where they're desperate to get their stories out and stay in the public limelight.
So, Soph, I got a question for you. I sent you guys an article. Shout out to my boy Pudge. It was about DJs and Luke as well, with this copyright thing and this hold that Instagram
I read that.
and this, how it stops the flow. And Soph, you as, a socialite and, the vibe, the culture, right? What does that do when we're in search of the vibe or just, that feeling and, guys are not being given the platform? So I'm asking you both as a DJ, as a fan, as a listener, what is your take on that? Like,
you mean like it's stopping?
Yeah, well, see, the fact, like, to me, it's just like, as a DJ, what does it look like being booted off the Instagram after like 10 minutes of a good set and having 200 people in your group and trying to build that and build and build, and then you got to be just snatched out, and then I was like, yo, restart, hit me back. That takes the life out of it, man.
Right. But I also think it depends on your listeners. Like for me, in that situation, like, oh, okay, they must have booted him off, but he's coming back. He has more content, and so it's like, and okay, well, this DJ, this artist is good, and so I'm going to wait.
Right.
And I'm still going to support when he or she comes back on, and we're going to be back on it until, it happens again. But I also think that this social media, like Instagram, like that platform needs to understand, okay, well, this is what's going on. All these DJs are live streaming because they can't, and they're sharing a positive, they're just kind of painting this bright picture of, okay, you can't go out to the club. That doesn't mean the music has to stop.
Right.
So can we expand these copyright, I don't know what they are, they just copyright laws?
Like licenses or permissions or something.
Yeah, it's music. Let us play the music. You're sharing the music. You're getting it out there.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
You're streaming this song. You may not have created this song, but you're still playing it. I'm still Shazamming it. I might be purchasing it. So why not?
Isn't that what it matters? Isn't that what matters?
Like, this is the purpose of it. Why are we restricting the content?
I just thought it was fascinating that, and we don't know the backstory, but when Be Nice had, President Obama and his wife and everybody online.
Instagram was a part of that, man.
And Instagram sponsored that, like they supported that whole thing. So it really gave license to all these other folks to say, hey, if he can do it, we can do it. But no, he wasn't cut off. He wasn't interrupted. But the other night, and of course, I talk very humbly. I had 17 people, but for me, felt really good. I had 17 people interacting with each other, having a good time.
Right.
Boom! I play Savage, which is a popular song right now, and next thing you know, bam, I'm shut off. So I try to get back on real quick. Never got more than 3 the rest of the night,
So let me ask you, let's talk about that, right? Because that doesn't happen at a party. That doesn't happen at the club.
Doesn't happen at the club.
Right.
Right? So when that happens to you, what is your feeling? Like, how do you feel about that?
No, it just killed the whole energy level for me. Like, it was hard to want to even get back on and do when I saw that I wasn't going to get a critical mass back. It was just it just killed the vibe.
Because look, let me tell you, and as a fan of music has to be in the moment. Mm-hmm. We live in the moment of music as well. There's a certain song, and if you guys hear it and you know it, the first thing you do is go back to when you first heard it, where you was, what it made you feel like, those moments,
That's
right? And snatching them. Look, this video stream, snatching a moment from people, man, that kills, and it does something for the energy. And Sophia, I agree with you. Like, Instagram, as savvy as they are, they should totally be aware to what the people are wanting, right? I don't care if it's 317 or 17,000, right?
Instagram,
give folks the platform to do their thing and showcase their abilities, because that's why social media even exists.
I do like that people are now starting to capitalize and take advantage of Instagram stupidity, like Twitch TV.
Yeah.
People are finding other platforms that aren't going to interrupt you.
I thought about Twitch, man.
Yeah. So, the one thing for me that I think has been really cool, to your point, is that in this time, I'm finding new DJs, not new to me, DJs that have been doing it for years and are really good. I'm really honing in on the DJs that I want to emulate or learn from or model. When I think about DJ Newmark or Four Color Zach or Neat the Freak or Four Eyes, DJ Delve, Rich Medina, these guys, I'm finding them because they're at home and they're not just out on the road all the time. Right. And so they're streaming, and I am feeling their vibe. I really am, and even if I get cut off, I'm like Sophia, it's like I'm becoming a fan. So I'm just praying that they jump back on so I can follow them some more,
Do you think it's so many to pick from? I got so many guys that pop up on my feed, man, and I want to show everyone love. So I'm 3 minutes in one live.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I'll see people come in, they give me the wave, and then my number goes down. And I'm like, hey, it's pretty obvious because I only had 3 in here, and now it's down to 2. And disappeared.
Sometimes the notification doesn't go out because of the flooding.
Most of the people say, I didn't even know you were on.
Exactly. Because you don't see it, man.
Right.
You get them?
Sometimes he was talking to me last night about, I was at work, number one, but I usually get a notification even if I'm at work, and it said, nope, didn't know you were on.
Mm-mm. I get that a lot. People say, you're going to have to text me because I didn't even know you were on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, any last minute words? We want to wrap this up. It's been great.
Just much love and respect. Both of you have minds that I admire and respect, and you did not waste my time. Thanks for provoking
my been great
passion. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Right.
Peace.
Peace. Love.